All right, it's official, my friends. The weekend has begun for most of us anyway. Hope you're having a great day out there. It is 5:11, 5:12, jumping on a little bit early. Got my meeting finished, so I thought I would jump on. We have a lot of questions. We're going to go into a lot of things today, so I'm certainly excited about that. We are going to be talking about how to manifest anything. People ask all the time about manifestation. How does it work? Mine doesn't seem to be working. We hear that a lot. I'm going to tell you how to do that. We're also going to talk about how to get out of your head. We spend so much of our time there. Almost every problem that we have is because of our personal mind. So once we understand that, we can break the programming. Also, I'm going to tell you how to pay attention to life's whispers. And you know what they are. Those little voices that kind of are pushing you in the right direction. I'm going to give you some more details on that. And then one of our empowerment partners, Bobby, she asked 3 questions. I'm going to cover all 3. How to be open to new ideas, how to unlearn the programming of the past, and religion versus spirituality. So I'm going to discuss all of those things. Plus, I'm going to answer her question by telling you how you can change your core beliefs, because really that's where it's at. And once you do that, everything else changes. So all of that, plus we're live. If you have any questions or comments, drop them in the box. We are live covering all of that right now on today's Mind Power Secrets. All right, we're back. It is 5:14 on Friday evening here in Cleveland, Ohio. It is a beautiful day today. Hope you are doing well. Questions or comments, drop them in the box. We are live, and I will get to them. Anything you want to talk about, let me know. We have a few questions we received earlier by private message and email, so we'll get to those too. But I want to start today with how to manifest what you want. Everybody, this is the top question. People ask us all the time, talking about the law of attraction. Everybody's watched The Secret or read the book, and they want to know how to do it, and most people are asking about love or money. Those are the 2 things that people want to manifest in their lives. So, of course, there are steps. You may be familiar with manifestation or the law of attraction because everybody has read that book. And I think it's sold about 300 million copies so far. And it's something that thought leaders like Deepak Chopra, Eckhart Tolle, and Oprah, they've all talked about, okay? And every one of those people agree that you really can manifest things into your life. But first things first, even though manifesting is about turning your dreams into reality, it does require that you take proactive steps towards whatever it is that you desire. Now that happens because you shouldn't expect it instantly or overnight while you sleep. But it's a small price to pay for something that can have such a profound impact on your life. Now, I'm just curious how many people out there have read The Secret, because that's really the book, in modern times that got everybody, hot on the law of attraction again. So if you've read the book, let me know. Drop it in the comment there. But there are steps for manifestation. It's turning your dreams into reality, but you got to take those steps. All right. You control a lot by your thoughts, and we control a lot by our joined thoughts, by what we believe. When you start to figure that out for yourself, you start to become careful of what you think and what you ask for. You start to think, what else can I do? What else can I manifest? Because I've seen it work. I've seen it happen in my life. I've seen it happen in other people's lives around me over and over and over again. So if you're looking to give manifestation a try, if you're looking to learn how to do this the correct way, there are steps that you do that, for anyone. If you're attempting to manifest anything you desire, and again, money and love is included. But in order to get to this, let's back up just a little bit. And I'll tell you what manifestation is, because that's a question people ask all the time too. You talk about manifestation a lot, but what is it? Well, essentially, it's bringing something tangible into your life through attraction and belief. For instance, you think it and it will come, a simplified, dumbed down version. However, there is more to manifestation than just willpower and positive thinking. Manifesting is making everything you want to feel and experience a reality. And you do that with your thoughts, your actions, your beliefs, and your emotion. So to start manifesting, you have to be clear about your goals. Now, all of us approach manifestation differently. We're all trying to manifest different things in our lives. But the people who are successful at it, the people who do it, follow the same basic principles. And first, and really, I think most importantly, you need to know exactly what you want. I mean, you are the only one who dreams your dreams. So whether it's a new relationship or a healthy relationship with the one you have, or a better job, you got to know it and you got to own it. Whatever you desire, no matter what it is, one thing is essential. One thing is absolutely mission critical here. And it's you have to make your intention as specific as possible. And that means the more clear and the more concise, the better. So instead of saying, I want to meet my soulmate, develop a detailed picture of what that person would look like. Now, think qualities, characteristics, values. Don't be thinking exactly what they look like, because that's going to keep you from getting your manifestation, because you may miss the true soulmate because in your mind you have the picture of what they need to look like. So if you're creating a person, again, it's qualities, characteristics, values. That is what's important. Once you've set your intention, you have to ask for what you want. And I find it easier to do this. You write it down on a piece of paper. It makes it tangible. I perform on stages all over the world. And a lot of my acts, I have made millions of dollars in my career, and my act can fit in a briefcase. I have flown, without luggage sometimes. I can do a 2-hour stage show for 3,000 people I don't have huge props. I'm doing, people are writing, reading, phone books, magazines, things like that. Mind power. So I love to write things down. I'm a very visual person, and I like to see it, and I like to write it down, and then I can give feeling and meaning to that, but you've got to pinpoint exactly what your hopes, your dreams, and your goals are. So what does that mean? It means asking the universe for what you want. Now, you can do it in a lot of different ways. Prayer, meditation. I meditate twice a day, every day. I don't care what I'm doing, where I'm going. I'm flying to shows next week. I'm flying to Dallas in a couple of weeks. I will get up at 2 a.m. just to get in my meditation. It's that important. And one of the days I'm going to do my morning routine. I'll let you see exactly what takes place in that hour and 20 minutes, and you can pick and choose. But there's so many powerful pieces in there: affirmation, visualization, meditation, speaking your intentions out loud, affirmation, obviously. A vision board is a good thing. I have one in my office, or something I used to do is a future box, and that's just a container, a box, whatever, just full of pictures of items you want to manifest. So it's kind of like a vision board, but not on the board, just kind of in the box, but you need to say exactly what you want. No matter how you do it, you got to say exactly what you want. Now, like I said, I write down my intention on a piece of paper. Now, if you've spent any time on TikTok, you might have heard of the 3-6-9 method. And that's when you write down what you want in the following order: 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the afternoon, 9 times at night, for 33 or 45 days or whatever. But what's going on there? What it may look like, some stupid challenge, but what's going on there is what works, and it's repetition. Since we have been kids, we have been drilled and drilled and drilled with knowledge and biased and all of these things with repetition. It's like you train any domesticated animal. Repetition over and over and over and over again. And that's why these type of methods are good. It's because you're doing it over and over, and it's allowing the feeling and it's allowing the emotion to come through. So You don't have to follow any specific method of doing, this many times. That is just to get you to do it over and over and over again. So just do it as many times as you want. But write down once a day. Do it in the morning. Write down whatever it is that your big goal is, whatever it is you're trying to manifest. Keep that with you, and then start working on those goals and do it every day. Write it down every day. Don't just use the same piece of paper you wrote down Monday and have it in your pocket every day. Make it a ritual in the morning to write it down. Look at it. Feel happy about it. Know that it's coming. Fold it up. Keep it with you. And most important of all, start working towards it. Start working towards those goals. The problem with the book, The Secret, and all of these things is they leave out the action step. Law of attraction is real, but law of attraction only works when you take action. That's why 99% of the people cannot make manifestation work in their lives, because they don't ever take any action. None. And even the smallest action in the right direction is progress, is success. Manifesting is called co-creating, because really it's a collaboration between you and the universe, or you and God, or you and source, or you and whatever you believe the power to be, which is exactly why knowing what you want is only half the battle. You will not see any results without action. So set aside a little bit of time to think about what steps you can take, any steps, to reach your goals yourself. Then build those steps into your daily routine. If you're living your life just haphazardly and you have absolutely no morning routine, evening routine, what do you do before sleep? You need to start working on that, because that's how you get a hold of the programming in your subconscious. It's taking control of what's going in and going out of your mind. Okay? Another way to be in action when manifesting is to ask yourself the question, what would my future self be thinking? And this was an old thing. I think it was from a Napoleon Hill book, where you're talking to your future self. And again, it sounds like one of those woo-hoo things, but you have no idea how many times I've asked questions before meditation and then received the answer in the silence of the meditation. There is a connection between us and the universe, between the real us, the soul inside. So, you have to understand that. You've got to, what would my future self be thinking? And why would you do that? Because reframing your mind will enable you to be successful. Being the person who already has, already does, already feels your goals and your dreams and your desires, that helps you become that person. Become the person now. Live like the person you want to be. Live in the end, as Neville Goddard says. It is powerful, and it is the truth. It was the next step for me, and it changed everything. Now, the next thing you need to do is be mindful of and thankful for what you receive. Because again, when you get your manifestation, you have to be grateful. You have to feel gratitude. Now, maybe you won't get exactly everything you envision in the right order or the time frame you want, but you will receive and acknowledge whatever it is you get, no matter how big or small, because gratitude is the key. Now, I've talked about this before. You can do a gratitude journal. I keep one, and it's part of my morning routine every single day, as I just fill 2 pages with all the things I'm grateful for. And I don't do the same every day. There are so many things to be grateful for in our lives. And when you do that, you get the feeling of being grateful. And that energy goes out into the universe. That vibration, that frequency goes out into the universe, and that is what it brings back. So create a gratitude journal. And a lot of people tell me, I can't do anything else in the morning. Get up earlier. If you have to do it before bed, but spend 5 minutes a day writing down the things you're grateful for. And then maybe anything that happened during the day that brings you closer to what you're trying to manifest, because that's a win too. Any little bump of fuel you get in your tank will help you. So maybe you want to save enough money for retirement, and you get a call from the cable company on a way to lower your monthly bill, right? Or you come across some sort of podcast that inspires an idea for this money-making side hustle. You just let go of any resistance and limiting beliefs. So in addition to changing our mindset and our behaviors, in order to manifest what we want in our lives, we need to remove any obstacles in our way. And most of the time, those are limiting beliefs. Those are the things we were programmed with in childhood. And I'll touch on those because it's something Bobby asked, and I'll get to those in a moment. So I won't go too much into it now, but limiting beliefs will cloud your vision. They include fear and negative self-talk. Telling yourself you're not good enough, you're not worthy enough, you're not smart enough, you're just not enough. It's a tape that's playing for so many people. And if you're not conscious of that, then you end up acting out of that belief system and not what you know to be true or want to be the truest version of yourself. You don't become what you want because so much of wanting is about living in the space of what you don't have. And that's the problem. You don't attract what you don't have. You're attracting what you are. So you must become, at least mentally, the person that you want to be, to have what it is that you want. To move past these limiting beliefs, it's super essential that first, identify what exactly they are. That's easy, Brent, for you to say, but how do you do it? Well, how about this? Ask yourself, what are the beliefs I have about myself that may be slowing me down? Like I said many times, I will ask questions before meditation and I will receive the answer. But give yourself a few minutes. Sit down with a blank piece of paper and just ask, what are the beliefs I have about myself that may be holding me back, may be inhibiting my progress? And then write down your answers. Cross out the limiting beliefs and write in new affirmations in their place. This is all ceremonial, but it's powerful. Don't look past this because it sounds woo-hoo and new age. This is powerful. These kind of rituals, this repetition. Jot down your answers, then replace any negative feelings with positive ones. If your limiting belief is, I am incomplete without a man, reverse it to, I am complete just as I am. If your limiting belief is, I'm not good enough, reverse it with, I am wonderful today. To take it a bit further, the next time you find yourself questioning your worth or saying, I don't deserve this, just pause and think of all the reasons why you are deserving. Energy is important. We all have so much life force energy. We have the same amount. And when we're using it over so many different things, it drains us of our life force. Energy is a very, very important thing when you are working on transforming your life. You're learning about all of the life force that you spread out over all these different agreements, holding down all this emotional trauma. And all of that takes your energy. It takes willpower, and it's holding you back. And I'll tell you, there's one thing that I know above anything else. I've been doing this for almost 30 years, touring the world and teaching people about the mind. Energy is everything. The energy we put out in the world is the energy we get back, and it's the truth. If you are continually sending out negative energy through your thoughts or your feelings, you will be buried in it because you'll attract that same energy back to you. On the flip side, if you are able to shift your energy, and we call it raising your vibration. I just did a whole video on that yesterday. Using frequency attunement to get what you want, getting on the same vibration as what you want. So take a look at our YouTube channel. If you missed that video, because it is up there, it's youtube.com/BrentWebbOfficial, but you'll see the video. It's using frequency attunement to master the law of attraction. And raising your vibration is important. You'll attract more positivity. And what that will do, it won't solve everything, but it will help you. It will motivate you enough to start realizing your goals. Now, lucky for you, lifting your energy is really simple. You just focus on activities that cultivate feelings of joy and happiness. Wow, that sounds great, right? What could be better? Whether it's doing something for someone else, Nothing is better than helping a friend or family member, donating to a meaningful organization, or volunteering. You know, back home in California, Christmas morning, we would go down, and the Palm Springs Civic Center had this huge, they served Christmas dinner to the homeless and the less fortunate, and they did this toy giveaway. And we did that every Christmas morning. And it was just overwhelming what you get from that. You know, feeling like you're connected, that you're giving something back, that you're not just wasting your time on this planet. There is something to be said about doing something for other people, and doing something for other people without expecting something back, because that's what we do. I'll do this because it'll get me this. Just do it to do it. Maybe start your morning with meditation. I'm telling you, it'll change everything. To be able to sit still. You know, one of the greatest quotes in history is, you know, one of the biggest problems we have is man cannot sit alone with himself in a room. And that's true. We don't want to go there. So many people don't want to be alone with their thoughts, but you have to be. You have to be to make transformation. So what about starting your day with meditation? What about going to a yoga class? What about walking in nature, or treating yourself to something that you deserve, some self-care? You know, you can also concentrate on how you want to feel. So if you want more love in your life, set your intention to be more loving. If you want kindness, focus your energy on empathy and compassion and caring about other people and giving people the benefit of the doubt and giving yourself the benefit of the doubt too. Now, doing all of that, you have to be flexible. You have to trust the process. There is no rigid guidelines as far as time, when it's going to happen, you know, how it's going to happen. The way we screw up our manifestation is we're always trying to figure out how it's going to happen. I want this. So in order for that to happen, this has to happen and that and this, and then somebody would have to do that. And we screw ourselves out of it because we overthink it into oblivion. This is a process, but you have to be flexible. The process is fluid. The steps you take don't really matter as much as your belief. It doesn't matter what order you do them in, right? But that belief has to be there. Faith is not just a religious concept. Somehow it's been monopolized by religion, but faith and belief is in yourself. You have to trust your actions, your visions, and your clarity, as well as the powers that be, because faith is a powerful motivator. You can't just look at what everyone else is doing if it feels wrong for you. You have to start having trust and belief in yourself. And that sometimes means stepping away from what everyone else is doing if you feel that it is wrong. Now, most people ask, can I manifest a person? Can I manifest love? Of course, you can. The best part about manifestation is it has wide-reaching applications. The law of attraction knows no bounds, really. So once you start dialing in on your manifestation process, once you start doing it over and over and over and getting to be a master manifester, a manifester like no other, there is no limit to what or how often or how much you manifest. Oprah says now she doesn't even need affirmations or visualizations or a dream board because she's such a master manifester. She can just do it, you know? So you can manifest relationships. That's new friendships, romantic relationships. It is important to only manifest people who will help you fulfill your goals. In other words, you only want to attract people who are attracted to the person that you are becoming. So listen to this carefully. Don't try to manifest, you know, the hottest celebrity girlfriend or whatever when you've got to be working on the person that you want to attract is going to be attracted to the person you are becoming. So you've got to get out of your mind exactly what they look like, right? You've got to do that so that you don't have this exclusion of people. You will be so happy when you're aligned with someone, when someone is aligned with you, and not the you that you show the neighbors and the you that you put on the mask every day, but the real you. Do you know how thrilled you will be? And if you're in that relationship now, you know how it feels. It's incredible. You know, it makes you feel like you can do anything, and you want to do that for them too, not just for yourself. It's been years now, and I was in a lot of relationships before, but there is, you know how people say you can just tell when it's true. There is a connection there that's beyond anything else, because you're connected to the person in a way that's not just physical, that's not just mental. That we all look for someone out there to complete us, and that's not, we are already complete. You need to find someone out there that is compatible with our wants and our desires and how we want to live as a person. Don't try to attract someone just because they're, a 10 on your scale of good-looking people, right? Manifesting love, like everything else, requires some effort. So the same thing goes for money, because that's the second thing people ask all the time is, does it work with money? And of course, that's what most people are doing. The process for manifesting money follows the same steps, but a financial manifestation is rooted in gratitude, right? The trick for manifesting money is looking at the abundance you already have and expressing gratitude for it. So even if you're struggling to pay bills, raise your vibration and block any limiting beliefs by welcoming the money and prosperity that is on the way. When I pay bills, I love sending that money out. If you hold tightly to your money and you don't want to, that is very, very bad. That's a limiting belief. So when you have bills to pay, oh, I love that. I smile. I touch that check, or if I'm doing it online, it makes me happy, right? I have the money to pay all these things. It's a good thing, right? Don't, oh my God, the bill's in the mailbox. Every time I go to the mailbox, right? You start doing that, and then what happens? You're buried in that crap. You can use visual tools to keep you driven and focused. Buy a bigger purse, or visualize swimming in a pool of cash, right? Make a tree of Monopoly money, a money tree, right? Of Monopoly money until you can replace it with real money. Write a large check to yourself, knowing one day you'll cash it. Jim Carrey did this. Before Jim Carrey was famous, he wrote himself a check for $10 million. He told this story on Oprah. There's videos all over YouTube. I'll link something down below when I find it. But he did that. He would go up on above Hollywood. He would look down, take that check out, and think about all the things he was going to be able to do when he was rich and famous. He did that night after night, week after week, year after year, pulled that check out of his pocket. He had dated the check. Okay, he had dated the check, something like it was 2 or 3 years and 2 or 3 years ahead of time, or so he 2 or 3 years into the future, he had dated it. 3 days before the date of the check that he wrote out, he made $10 million to do Dumb and Dumber or The Mask or something. And and I've done the same thing. Now I've always been lucky as far as earning money, but I've done, I did that once. I wrote a check for $1 million. I dated it December 21st in the year. I have been really good at being able to manifest financial things. That's where I really got started with this whole thing. But that's a great thing to do. And a matter of fact, I'm looking at another check right now that's above my desk for a much bigger amount. You can do that. Tape it to the wall. Put it on your desk so you see it. Always find ways to motivate yourself. You got to motivate yourself until it happens. Because a lot of people, they think it takes too long, right? What's the fastest way to do it? People ask. Well, if you see it and you feel it, you'll achieve it. So the easiest way to manifest anything is to be clear about what you want. Don't give the universe mixed signals, and take action. Working towards your goals is imperative. And also, you have to remain receptive. Ask the universe for what you want, and then listen carefully. You've got to keep your eye out for signs of success or achievement. Doors will open. Synchronicities will happen. Don't fall down the trap of going, oh, it's just a coincidence. I'm not even going to bother with that. No. Those things are there on your path for a reason. The only thing stopping you from manifesting your dreams is you. If you can see it in your mind, if you can visualize it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. So get to work. There is so much manifesting that you can do. Manifestation is powerful. Manifestation brings everything into reality. Everything that ever was, that ever will be, is coming out of the unified field, right? And that's where we go in transcendental meditation, where you're able to get into that area and you're so creative. But everything is there. So what you're trying to manifest is already here. You just have to bring it to you. Okay? So we're going to go next, and I'm going to talk about, let's talk about this. How to get out of your head. Oh man, people ask this all the time. We spend so much time there, right? With all those thoughts, oh, I suck. What if I fail at this? I wonder if he really loves me. My life is over. How about my life sucks? I hear that all the time. You talk about the worst affirmation you could say. That's it. My life sucks. What you hear people say things all the time like, oh, it's just my luck that happened. What a horrible thing to say. Oh, I never get this. I never do that. Those affirmations, if you ever hear yourself saying them, that's maybe 1/100th of the amount of time you're actually doing it. If you're actually aware of one time out of 100, that's fine. But we never are. And I know something about you without even knowing you. You spend a lot of time in your head because we're all thinking, stressing, worrying, freaking out. You can call it whatever you want. We call it the monkey mind. It's preoccupied. That's what it is. It's preoccupied 99% of the time with thoughts that are useless. A great many people think they are thinking when they are merely rearranging their prejudices. That was a quote from William James. All my life, I have been obsessed with practical things. Ever since I was a kid, practical philosophy, practical knowledge, practical books, practical advice. And that idea comes from pragmatism. It's a philosophical tradition that started in the 19th century. If you think about thoughts, worry, and stress, again, William James had a great quote here. The greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over another. Now, pragmatism believes that the mind is a tool, and your mind should work for you, not against you. We are not a slave to the mind, although it appears that way. The mind works for us, but so many of us are down on our knees with that vicious taskmaster whipping us because we have somehow fallen into the trap of believing that we are a slave to the mind. There's no way to get control of what's going on up there. People who don't master their mind, they don't believe it's possible. I can tell you. I'm the mastermind, right? It's not only possible, it's not that difficult once you know how to do it. Do the things we're talking about here. I know what you're thinking because that's my job. I can't help it. I can't help thinking these things. Bullshit. You can with enough practice. It's like anything else. It's a skill. You're not going to go on the floor and meditate for 20 minutes today if you've never done it before. You got to start, though. You've got to start. It's a skill like anything else. You have the ability to decide what you think. Or, more importantly, I think the big secret, you can choose not to think, but you can be aware of the choice. Too many times we get sucked into this vortex of, you get sucked into a fight or something. It's 2 weeks later, we've gone down the rabbit hole of anger, jealousy before we realize, before we're aware of it. We have the ability to decide what to think, or we can choose not to think. And that is one of the most important and the most practical things you can learn in your life. I'll tell you, before I learned it, I would spend hours and hours a day inside my head. Now, luckily, I became a mind power specialist. That's my expertise. But I almost did it because of that. I was plagued with anxiety, crippling anxiety and fear. And even though I could walk on stage in front of 5,000 people, and I still can, but it's different now because there's no fear, there's no anxiety. I don't wake up in the middle of the night with some unknown cement block on my chest. It disappeared. It's gone, right? So you have to be aware of what's going on up there. We spend so much time in our heads. It can literally be a heaven or a hell, depending on what's going on inside your mind. Just think about how much you think. I wonder what my boss thinks. What happens if I screw up and I lose this job? Shit, I wonder if Susan loves me. You know what? I don't think Bill cares about me at all. I just keep failing. I am so stupid. Why does my life suck? Why is my life so awesome and other people's aren't? What if I get cancer? I don't care about my job. Is there something wrong with me? I can't finish anything. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? These looping, unanswerable questions. Why does my life suck? There's no way to answer that question. First of all, it's not reality, right? But there's no way to answer. That's a question that's going to suck you into a never-ending loop. And I'll tell you what, when you start to spiral, you know when an airplane starts to spiral, a small airplane, guess what? They crash. Because when an airplane starts to spiral, it goes directly to the ground. You ride it to the ground. And that's what we do here. We start looping. And oh my God, I suck. And I did this. And remember when I did this? Oh my God, remember when I didn't do that? The list goes on and on and on. And yes, it's all real crap. That's the stuff people tell me. Every one of those things I said to you, those are all things people have told me when I ask them what they worry about. Do you know what those thoughts do to you? Disease in the body is dis-ease, not at ease, and guilt and anger and suffering. So here's one question. What is the practical use of your thoughts? I'll wait. Still no answer? Exactly. They have no use. 99% of them, that is. So which thoughts are useful? Well, if you're thinking about how you can solve a problem, that's useful. A problem is just an unanswered question. Put your brain to use and think about how you can solve problems. There are a lot of those on this earth, right? What other thoughts are useful? Well, understanding knowledge. That means try to internalize knowledge that can help you. Think about how you can use that knowledge to improve your life, your career, your work, your relationship. That's it. You can ignore every other thought. You have my permission. This is the way to do it. So again, if your thoughts don't fall into these two categories, thinking of how you can solve problems, understanding knowledge, let it go. Now remember, understanding knowledge is not becoming a knowledge collector. That's someone who reads every book there is on personal development and self-help, but never utilizes anything, never takes the action step. You've got to understand the knowledge. You see, it's not just accumulating the knowledge, it's understanding it. So try to look for knowledge that can help you and then direct it into your life. That's it. If you're constantly thinking it's because you haven't trained your mind yet, you got to get out of your head. Because if you don't, you will go mental. Everyone will. Everyone does. No exception. You're probably thinking so much that you're missing out on life. Did you notice the sunshine this morning or the rain? If it was raining, did that make you sad? Did that make you depressed? Did it make you think that the day was going to suck? I love when people do that with weather. Their whole day can be ruined just by the weather. Did you notice the weather this morning? Did you notice the smell of your coffee? Did you feel the texture of your cereal? If the answer is no, you got to get out of your head because you are overthinking. When you are taking a shower, are you really showering? Are you paying attention to what? No. Your mind is thinking of all the things you have to do today, and you're already getting pulled into the trap. Get out of your head. So how do I train myself to stop thinking useless thoughts, you may ask? Very, very easy. One word answer: awareness. That is where it starts. Every time you start drifting off, you just become aware of it. That's it. Do you know how much you can change your life just by becoming aware? Because we're sleepwalking through our life. We are filled with programming. Just becoming aware will solve a multitude of problems. So many things will vanish that you thought were locked in you forever just by becoming aware of them. Just observe your mind. Step outside yourself. Remember, you are the overseer. You are not this body. This is not you. You are the soul, the overseer. The voice in your head is not you. First of all, if you're hearing the voice, you know it's not you. You are the overseer. So step aside and observe the batshit crazy stuff that you're thinking about. But when you do it, don't judge it. Don't think you're stupid. Because guess what? If you do that, you're thinking again. What you want to do is say this to yourself. Oh, that's cute. That's a cute thought. Now I'll get back to reality. If you can change your mind, you can change your life. Every self-help course in the history of forever has said that. Most don't understand it, but it's true. Right now, are you here? Are you here in reality? You're listening to my voice. You may have your phone in your hand or sitting at your computer. Are you thinking about how you can apply this information to your life? Good if you are, because you're using your mind. Your mind is not using you. You can implement. None of these things are earth-shatteringly difficult. These are small baby steps. But the destination, where they will lead you, is a completely different life. You got to keep using that brain of yours. Because I will tell you this, and I don't care what you think, it is the most powerful tool in the universe. Stop spending so much time in your head. Man, it's powerful. Okay, I'm checking for questions. None yet. If you have any questions or comments and you want to get them to me, just drop them into the comment box. Sorry, I was reading something. We got a lot. We still got a few things we're going to cover. Let's go to, I want to talk about this. Somebody asked me, about synchronicities and coincidences and that sort of thing and how to pay attention to when life is trying to give you signs. So I'm going to talk about, let me pull this up for you. I made these graphics for you, so you might as well use them, right? This is how to pay attention to life's whispers. Now, we all have these, and I know you do. I know you have those times in your life where you feel like you're being moved to something, right? Where life, the universe, is whispering to you what you need to do. The problem is, most of the time, we don't pay any attention. This is what you need to do. All right? This is talking about listening to the whispers that you see here in your life. If you're paying attention from the moment you open your eyes in the morning until the moment that you go to bed at night, this voice can be speaking to you. But are you really hearing the whispers? It's one of the most important pieces of the puzzle that you really need to put together to see the bigger picture. We're operating on a very small bit of awareness until it gets bigger and consciousness grows and grows. We only understand a very small amount of what's happening around us. I want you to see the bigger picture of your best life, the life that you've been dreaming about all these years, the life that you think is not going to happen, that you've put on the back burner. Things that are meant for you will first come in a whisper, a whisper, and it may sound like, that's strange, or, you know what, that seems odd. I didn't leave that drawer open. But if that whisper isn't addressed, guess what? It becomes louder. It becomes amplified. It becomes louder and louder until it's a big bam on the side of your head, right? And if you're not paying attention then, well, that's going to transform into a brick upside of the head. And eventually, all of those ignored bricks that make up the structure and the stability of your life, guess what? Those walls come crashing down. So know this for sure. Life is whispering to you all the time. It turns into a brick of a problem. You ignore that problem, you get a brick wall of crisis. So the key is learning how to hear the whispers before they turn into bricks. So in my life, this shows up normally through relationships. Maybe someone shows me who they are in a whisper, and I keep hanging on till they do something that's like a brick upside my head. So you just have to get in connection, right, with that voice. You got to be in connection with that voice. So many people, they just choose to sleepwalk. They think so many things are outside of their control, like this pandemic, right? Whatever the voice is whispering to you, you have to be able to tell the difference between the voice and the conditioned past, the reality, the voice in your head, right? That's just the conditioned past. Some of you may have realized the life you lived before the pandemic isn't going to serve you anymore. That's why so many people you see now are quitting jobs and trying new things. Returning to an office isn't going to be their next chapter, right? They've gained a deeper appreciation for their family and their friends, or even their alone time. Maybe they turned a passion or a hobby into a full-time business. But there are others who are just going to go right back to their routine without ever hearing the whisper, without ever understanding what it is really calling you to do. So if there's one thing you can learn here, it's to listen to the whispers in your life, because you are in the driver's seat as to where they take you, where they lead you. So many people get frustrated, right? Because for whatever reason, when you're talking to somebody, they're not paying attention. It's so much easier to observe it, deal with it, end it before you get sucked into an argument, before you get pulled into someone else's drama. It's so much easier to create the space. That's what we're doing, creating space that you'll be able to step back inside yourself and observe the situation. It's so much easier to observe someone else's situation clearly than your own. So it's important to take the time to observe and listen. Become aware and learn to discern what your head is saying versus what your heart is saying. And sometimes you may follow a voice in your head that's not true, because that voice, again, until you learn to differentiate, sometimes you'll get pulled into, what you think is the whisper, and it's actually the voice inside your mind. That voice is always out to get us. And that's okay too, because every time you do that, you learn the difference, and you get as much from the losses as you do from the wins. So just keep listening, be aware of what the voice is saying. That's all you have to do. Just pay more attention. If we would all just spend a little more time paying attention to what's going on inside our head, everything would change. Now, Bobby Rude sent in a couple of questions. Hi, Bobby. I last saw you at one of my shows in Cleveland, probably one of the last ones I've done on a regular basis. So I appreciate that. Your questions, I'm going to cover all of them. Now, religion versus spirituality, I have a video on this, but I'm going to talk about it really quickly because there's a couple of things I wanted to add to it. Which one is better for your mental health, right? Well, there's all kinds of religions around the world, and many of them have their own spiritual texts, the Bible, the Quran. As a student of various world religions, you can start finding things of great value in all of them. The purpose of religion in general is to unite a group of people under the same values and principles, and to facilitate their collective and individual communication with a higher power or philosophy. Okay, I didn't memorize that. I wrote it down, but I didn't want to mess it up. The purpose of religion is to unite a group of people under the same values and principles, and to facilitate their collective and individual communication with a higher power. In other words, religion was meant to enhance spirituality. Now, saying that, it must also be said that it's entirely possible to be a very religious person, yet be totally out of touch with spirituality and its essential connection to the authentic self. On the other hand, true spirituality unites a person with his or her authentic self. That is not said to separate the two, because it's entirely possible to be both religious and spiritual. On the other hand, it's also possible to be so caught up in religion that one does not make room for the spirit to express or become known in their lives. Only if one is open fully to the spiritual element of religion will religion enhance one's mental health. If you're religious but not spiritual, mental health is not enhanced. In fact, it could be worse. It could be disturbed. Now, religion that teaches or encourages judgment of yourself or other people is disturbing to the psyche. And in fact, if your religion tells you that you're better than someone or not as good as someone else, get a new religion. Spirituality, on the other hand, would encourage compassion for the self and for others. Judgment of self not only diminishes self-esteem and a sense of well-being, but it also causes us to repress aspects of self that we might deem to be just unworthy of approval. Judgment of others causes us to cut off relationships with those we deem to be less worthy and to fear their judgment of us. Some religious communities, the suffering that naturally occurs in the lives of the members is worsened by the fear of judgment of others. For example, a church member might not ever tell the others in her church that she's thinking of divorcing her husband because he is emotionally abusive to her, because she fears they will judge her, to say that she is sinful for thinking of divorce. Therefore, her suffering is prolonged and she lacks vital support during one of the most difficult times in her life. You see this all the time in religion. When somebody has a gay child, then turn their back on the child, or they're embarrassed to let the church know about their son or daughter. Maybe a man lost his wife to cancer. Maybe he doesn't show his grief to the others because he fears they won't judge him for not accepting God's will for his wife. Maybe a person who's unhappy in his job might not share his concerns with those in his meditation group, because maybe he'll think that he's being too negative and he's drawing negative experiences into his life through the law of attraction. Religion that teaches us that we must rely completely on external advice or external books, as opposed to listening to the urging of one's own soul, is a religion that is destructive to mental health. Certainly, external advice can be useful, but only in the case in which the person receiving that advice authentically agrees with it. Certainly, sacred texts are useful, but the interpretation of those texts should be processed through the mind, through the heart, and through the soul of each individual, rather than set down as final truth by an external authority. When an external authority, whether it's a book, a person, or a religion, has final control over everything we do, say, and think, it is impossible for us to find and begin to live out our truest, deepest souls. We live oppressed by the external authority. This is definitely not good for mental health. It is the same as if a government came in and told us how to think, feel, believe, and act. The external authority has final and absolute control. Where, then, are our original thoughts, beliefs, feelings, and actions? Rather, we must learn to find our own internal authority and come to trust our own guidance. This is true spirituality. Religion that teaches us how we are to think and feel about the world doesn't allow us room to grow into our own understanding of life. Many religious authorities are currently teaching members of their community how they should view politics and how to vote, rather than trusting and even encouraging the membership to educate themselves on the world and to search their own souls. They are telling them how to think and feel, And they are just doing what our parents and schools and everyone else did to them. We are being programmed with someone else's ideas, thoughts, and beliefs, the same way our parents drilled it into us by repetition. They are adding to the think and feel that things are wrong, things are sinful. They are further adding unique and frightening prophecies about what it will mean for the world if the membership doesn't vote as they instruct. This is not only oppression, but it's spiritual and religious abuse. Yet many followers of these external leaders are too afraid to even consider any other option. You know, I cannot wait to see the new movie, The Eyes of Tammy Faye. I grew up in the 80s with the whole Jim and Tammy Baker thing. And I think it's amazing that a guy who went to prison for bilking hundreds of millions of dollars from his followers is now back on the air. And now he is selling survival buckets for thousands of dollars to these people. There needs to be some sort of law, something we can do. I understand religious freedom, and I understand the separation of all of that. But when there are people that are hurting other people, mentally, not only continuing their programming and their brainwashing, but robbing them. I mean, what's different than going up and physically robbing this person? You're drilling into their mind some bullshit story that's not true, scaring the hell out of people and telling them to buy, whatever pounds of freeze-dried slop that they can use in case of the zombie apocalypse. It's ridiculous. And what happens is many people that follow these types of leaders are too afraid to consider other options. They're too afraid of what other people will say of them, about them, especially people in that community. Spirituality is very personal and it's individual. This journey is not, you're not like doing it like everyone else. We're on our own journey, each and every one of us. We're going to the inner part of our soul. That is where this journey is. It's a journey inward. You don't have to go anywhere. This is the greatest thing ever. You can transform your life. You can become at peace with yourself. You can have everything that you want, and you don't have to leave your town to do it. The person on a spiritual journey may use all manner of external tools to facilitate that journey. And that includes going to church, temple, or mosque, reading sacred texts, or joining and engaging with others in various spiritual practices. I chant every day. I became a Buddhist several years ago, and that's powerful for me, right? But I get to pick and choose what I do. I get to pick and choose what has meaning for me. I get to pick and choose what works in my life. I'm not following doctrine that's been set down for generations from someone else. Texts that have been edited by governments and kings, and things are put in, things are taken out. You have to do some searching of yourself, of your soul, to understand that everything you want, that you need, that you're searching for is inside. It's an inside job. Spirituality allows a person to come to terms with their life on life's terms, not on theirs. We want everything our way. We think the world should be the way we want it. Spirituality allows you to come to terms with life on life's terms. Accept what's in front of you. It allows you tremendous freedom. You get to process through difficult experiences and become stronger. They don't break you down. They don't defeat you. You become wiser because you stayed conscious as you walked through the experience. You didn't let anger pull you in. You didn't go into your subconscious and let the tape start running and go hide. Spirituality allows you to develop healthy self-esteem and to respect and appreciate the journey of others. Everybody has their own journey. As long as you're not hurting anyone, as long as you're not thinking that you are better than someone else or worse than someone else, do what you do. Do what makes you happy. Do what you believe in. Do what it is that you need to do, but do it for you. I love it when somebody says, my religion won't let me do that. That's fine. My religion won't let you do that. That's a problem. So unless religion is leading to a deeper spiritual experience, you have to be very careful. You're on a very slippery slope. Religion is fantastic. It's great. Organized religion, maybe not so much. You have to be able to step outside, and you got to be able to look at things with your own eyes and become aware. And then you do whatever you want to do, but you don't let anyone else tell you what to do. It's so important, right? We want you to enhance your experience here, and you do that without damaging your mental health. There's just so much of that that's going on. Now, Bobby also asked, and I'm going to talk about unlearning the programming we were taught growing up and how to be open to new ideas. Okay, so we're going to talk about all of those. So I guess unlearning the programming we were taught growing up. Well, since the moment we're born, we're programmed. We're programmed by the people around us. We're programmed by our family, by our parents. We're programmed by what their parents programmed into them. We're programmed by the dream of society as a whole from generations past. Those beliefs, the religion, the racism, the homophobia, whatever that is, it's all being programmed into us from a very early age. And it's not our fault, at least not then, but it is now. If you're racist, if you're homophobic, if you're sexist, if you're whatever you are as an adult, it's your fault because you have the ability to change it. We're programmed before we're 10 years old. Just imagine our subconscious mind is like a tape recorder and it's in record mode. Okay? It's recording everything that's going on around us for those first 8, 9, 10 years. Most of that stuff now is not logical. I mean, think about it. We were children. We weren't logical back then. The decisions we made, the choices we made, the things we thought we had to do then to survive or to be liked or whatever it is, it's not going to be something as an adult that's going to make any sense to you, but it's the programming that's running inside your mind. So in order to do that, in order to unlearn that programming, you've got to learn to change your core beliefs. Most of the thoughts we think are not true. Record scratch, mic drop. It's the truth. When I was back in elementary school, my math teacher told me once, you're just horrible at math. You have one of the lowest math grades of anybody in class, right? This happened 3 decades ago or more. I remember the day it happened. I remember what I was wearing. I remember the time of the day right after lunch. That's how impactful this memory was to me. And in my head, when I heard what the teacher said, I was equating that to, you're a failure. In fact, I took that as, I'm no good at math. I'm no good at math. I'm no good at math. That opinion of someone else, that thought, I kept beating into my head. I'm no good at math. I'm no good at math. I'm no good at math. Became a belief. And that belief became a belief system. And for years, I lived it as my truth, thinking I was just horrible at math. The belief that I was stupid with math. It was very tangible. I believe I was not capable of conquering that subject. So maybe I wasn't capable of conquering what I wanted in life. How could I if I was the worst student from the math class, right? A lot of people say to me, clients, they'll say, my mother would compare me with my brother or my neighbor. You should be more like her. Even when you say something like that with good intentions, it can cause really harsh results into adulthood. Did these events torment all types of things that people do through their life? Yes, with no doubt. If someone told you when you were a kid you were too fat, too stupid, too this, too that, even though now it's not logical, even though now it doesn't make any sense, it's been programmed into you. But you've got to recognize it, because only then, only when you recognize it, only when you realize you are the one that's perpetuating this belief, you are turning this into your internal wiring in your subconscious. Now, we all have our own internal wiring, and that means we all have our own core beliefs. And it's made of the thoughts that we think to ourselves all the time, every day. Those thoughts play like a broken tape in the background of our minds. And we always, with nearly no question, believe it. Now, neuroscientists define thought as the interaction of billions of neurons in the same moment, swapping chemicals between them to communicate. Our brain has roughly 100 billion neurons. If we took 100 billion sheets of paper and piled them on top of each other, they would reach around 5,000 miles high. Impressive, right? If you search the web for how many thoughts do we think per day, you will find some unofficial results claiming we have 80,000 thoughts a day. It's a tricky subject to discuss because we have to figure out what is a thought. We all know that we think thoughts all the time, but there's still a long journey to clearly understand where our thoughts come from and how many cross our minds in one day. Now, until we get there, what we know is so far is that countless waves or loops of thoughts come and go in our head. Now, we can't control all of them. If you pay close attention to your thoughts, you will find that most of them are useless. Most of them are unreal. I'm going to grab a drink here. Iced tea. In general, we don't even notice most of our thoughts. Most of them are the thoughts we had yesterday, or the day before, or years before. Words we repeat in our minds and our memories. Things we keep returning to, random comments, answers, questions, and a lot of daydreaming where we lose track of time and space. We may not know much about thoughts yet, but we surely know this. We create our reality with the thoughts we think all the time. Our thoughts dictate the decisions that we make. So it's easy to see how living a happy life relies on finding the thoughts that work for us, not against us. The thoughts we think every single day are the ones who create our internal wiring. In other words, our core beliefs. Our job is to find the core beliefs that make our life stuck and change them. That's it. That's your job here. So what is a core belief? Well, these are the things you need to change. So Bobby, for your question there, in order to be open to new ideas, in order to unlearn the programming, unlearn the racism, the homophobia, the sexism, whatever it is from the past, you have to get in there and change your core beliefs. So what is a core belief? It's nothing more than just deep-rooted presumptions that we make about ourselves, the world we live in, and others. They are the result of impactful experiences almost entirely from our childhood. And if we had repeated impactful experiences, chances are we made our core beliefs even more rooted and so much harder to break. Core beliefs are simply the thoughts that you repeatedly think. As you do this, you reach a stage where your subconscious mind takes them over. It starts holding them as absolute truth. When this happens, you're no longer aware of your core beliefs. You simply think, it's just the way I am. Now, our core beliefs can make us exceptionally successful or miserable. Why? Because they control us about 90% of the time. Paradoxically, we control them as they control us. How? For being responsible for our mental content, which makes our core beliefs stronger. So how do you recognize a core belief? A core belief often starts with I or I am. They can either be negative or positive, but I'm going to focus on the negative ones because they're the ones that aren't working for us. So some examples of negative core beliefs that I've heard are, I'm not good enough. I'm a failure. I'm a loser. I'm incompetent. Everyone is better than me. I will never succeed. I'm bad. I don't deserve anything. Everything I do is wrong. I'm unlovable. I'm unattractive. Everybody is prettier than me. Everything is my fault. I never get it right. I will be hurt if I get close to someone. People cannot be trusted. There is no point in life. The world is unfair. Now, before we continue, let's be very clear about something. It's not your fault that you have these negative core beliefs. They exist because something or someone made you believe so. Most of us think that we're destined to be the way we are for the rest of our lives, when in fact, we are choosing to live like this by not choosing our thoughts. So I repeat, choosing our thoughts. So can I change my core beliefs? Absolutely. But you have to dive in deep. I say this every day, no matter what video I'm doing. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into everything you do. You got to take a deep dive. You need to understand what has been creating and shaping your core beliefs in the first place. You will have to bring them to your conscious mind. What we want to do here is make the subconscious conscious. Now, to find our core beliefs, we must be aware of the things that upset us. Because when we get upset, we have an opportunity to find out what is hidden in our subconscious mind. So simply put, when you get upset, that's a plus. That's a gift. When that red flag goes up, now you'll start to see what is upsetting you. Pause for a moment. Begin questioning the reasons that it's making you upset. Awareness. So let's go back to the math teacher who made me believe I was a failure. Every single time I would go through years and years of schooling, anytime anybody would criticize, my math skills, I would be so PO'd. I would be so offended, right? I would take everything as a personal attack. Not only would I doubt myself, but I would convince myself that the person that was criticizing me was absolutely right. As I started understanding core beliefs years later, I could finally see where all this was coming from. So now, instead of getting upset every time that happens, you stay still with the emotion. Then you could ask yourself a few questions to reach the core belief that is holding you back. You could ask, why is this upsetting me? And then maybe the answer, because my work is being criticized. So you ask again, why is my work being criticized? And the answer, because I did something wrong. And then you ask again, why did I do something wrong? And the answer comes, because I'm dumb. Why am I dumb? Because I'm a failure. I'm not good enough. Boom. Eureka. You just found a core belief. And all it takes is a little questioning of yourself. We are so afraid to go inside and be alone with our thoughts, with ourselves. This is how you get to the core of your beliefs. You peel them away like layers of an onion. All this came from something that people told me and created a huge impact on how I saw myself. It's happening to you too. I deliberately programmed my internal wiring into believing that no matter what I did, I would never be good at math. One of the things I do now in my stage show is a very difficult mathematical problem that is just a tribute to the fact that that idea that I'm bad at math became a thought pattern that became a belief that wasn't the truth, but I lived it as truth for years and years and years. But it was just a story I told myself. It was just a story in my head. That is what most of us are living. Our lives are made up of the stories we tell ourselves. The reasoning behind what we did, why it was a good idea we did this or didn't do that. They're just stories. Once you find out the core belief, like I'm not good enough, and then you know that that core belief is not absolute truth, all you got to do is replace it with the positive, the opposite. So I'm not good enough would be I am good enough, obviously, right? Changing our negative core beliefs mean we have to find our very best alternatives and live them. A good replacement for the negative core beliefs, look, if yours is I'm not good enough, I'm a failure. How about I'm worthy? I'm always learning to become better. I'm bad. I don't deserve anything. I'm good. I can be good. I want to be good. I'm unlovable. I'm unattractive. I am lovable just the way I am. By loving myself, others will love me. Everything is my fault. Sometimes I get it right. I will be hurt if I get too close to someone. Sometimes I will make a good friend if I get close to someone. People can't be trusted. Most people can be trusted. You don't have to go, for instance, people cannot be trusted. Everyone in the world is trustworthy, obviously. And you're not going to believe that, right? But the majority of people, we think this world is so bad, but the majority of people are good. The majority of people can be trusted. There is no point in life. The world is unfair. How about replacing that with, I am powerful and I can influence my life. I can co-create my life. Have in mind that you have to pick not only a new and positive core belief, but also a realistic one. So that's why, again, saying all people can be trusted, the world is the safest place, sounds unrealistic to you. And as a result, you won't believe it, because an unrealistic core belief, even positive, you won't believe very much. It won't help you change the negative because it's so outside of your belief system. So pick your words to the point where you believe them. And then maybe next time, shove that goal a little farther. Once you find your new and positive core belief, you want to make it stronger. You will do this every time you feel upset about something. And then you just noticed what is upsetting you, pause, and begin questioning the reasons you're upset. That's it. Come on, guys. How easy is that? Every time you feel upset about something, you feel that flush, you feel that in the pit of your stomach, those are gifts. It's telling you there's something to work on. All you got to do, notice what's upsetting you, pause, begin questioning the reasons that are making you upset. Soon enough, you will find more reasons and more experiences that will prove your positive core belief. More ammo, more fuel. The belief gets stronger. It makes you more powerful, more rooted in your subconscious. Eventually, and after understanding these negative core beliefs, I stopped doubting myself. I stopped sabotaging myself. It was clear what was stopping me from becoming who I wanted to become. It was me. I was now on the front seat of my subconscious. I was driving the train. Now, I don't know where you are in your journey, but I know if you're listening to this, you are on your journey. And that's success. Because that's the biggest part of it, is the awareness. So I don't know where you are, but I wish you the best. I just want you to remember, each one of us has a tape playing in the back of our heads constantly. This tape is full of thoughts that mostly we don't pay attention to, but we do take some, those negative ones, and we listen to them over and over and over. We punish ourselves over and over and over. We listen and hold these thoughts within us as absolute truth. Think about how you would feel and who you would become if you thought great thoughts about yourself all the time. Just understand that your self-talk and your thoughts are important. You can talk yourself into or out of anything. There is a way out. And I have no doubt that you can do it. So don't hesitate to contact me if you have any questions. Send me a private message. Drop a comment down below. Let's go back over and check. Gregory, you can ask a question. We are live. Just type it in the box there. If you have a question, we will discuss. We're also going to go, before we get to that, we're going to talk about, let's do this, the power of keeping an open mind. This is something I talk about a lot. I talk about in my seminars, my stage shows. The power of an open mind can enable you to do so many things. And of course, accepting new ideas is one of them. Bobby, another question you asked was how to be open to new ideas. So I thought I'd talk about this, because the best way to do that is to have an open mind. Now, it can be very difficult keeping your mind open to new things. And you know why that is? It's because things that are familiar, they feel comfortable. But You may be surprised at the happiness and the sense of fulfillment that new ideas and knowledge and opportunities and adventure and even relationships can bring to your life. So what's driving you? Obviously, you need to be motivated to find new ideas and discover new things. What's your reason for wanting to be more open? Do you have the commitment for this? Will you do what it takes to make this work? Choose the areas of your life where you want to focus. Now, one easy way to do this is by adding some variety to the foods you eat, rather than partaking in the same things day after day. Do you get up in the morning and do the same thing you go to the bathroom, brush your teeth, get your coffee? Mix it up a little bit. Start wrapping your mind around new ideas. Basic things. Drive to work a different way. Try a recipe you've never tried before. This is so easy, and it's a method that is very realistic to work into your life. To get some creativity going, begin with just one area and then slowly spread to other parts of your routine. It can be much less of a shock to take small steps into open-mindedness rather than trying to change your entire life in sudden and drastic ways. That's the main problem that everyone has when they fail here. They're trying way too much, way too soon. Take smaller steps. Here are some strategies that I wrote down to help you with your open mind and keeping that mind open to new concept. First, resist responding with anger when you're faced with clashing opinions. Just take a peaceful time out to remember that there will always be people whose opinions are different from yours. So try to see things from the perspective of the other person, following the old adage of walking a mile in their shoes. What else can you do? What other strategies? Well, don't close yourself off from the world. Encourage the exploration of situations you haven't gotten familiar with. When you come across various opinions, see that as an opportunity to learn. Another thing you can do is step outside of your comfort zone. The comfort zone is where we go to die. We're all in there. We'd rather sit on the sofa and watch Netflix than do something we know we need to do. Try to frequently move out of your comfort zone. If new circumstances cause you a lot of anxiety, go ahead and try, but go gradually. Travel to new spots. Try some new activities. Keep socializing and making new friends. Being around other people not only provides the opportunity to make new discoveries, but also can encourage you to try new things. That's how it was for me years ago with sushi. And oh my God, growing up, there's no way, right? And then, boom. Had some friends that love sushi, tried sushi, now I'm addicted. Your friends can expose you to many novel things. New friends can introduce you to new and different sets of interests that will open you up, open your mind, give you an opportunity to learn about something new. Now, another thing you can do that is so important that we never do is make it a point to ask questions. Asking questions not only helps you better understand and learn, but it also can be the only path sometimes towards gaining and keeping an open mind. Obviously, you don't want to be nosy, but if someone seems happy to share their experience, it makes sense to pay attention to what they have to say. When you're talking to someone, are you listening to them or are you planning in your head what you're going to say back? Start listening to what the other person is saying. That starts to change everything. This was something we talked about today when we discussed we were talking about the 4 agreements. This, which was don't assume. This one is don't speculate. But that means try out things prior to developing opinions about them. Instead of simply accepting the word of another person or going on the assumption that you like or dislike something, try it yourself and form your own opinion. You can try something simple like a new activity, a new hobby, or a new food. I was watching a video the other night about somebody, a guy who spent the last 17 years eating nothing but macaroni and cheese, the Velveeta, with the metal bag of cheese in it. 2 boxes a day for 17 years and build up such a phobia of other foods and mental blocks. And I mean, all self-created, you know? When you embrace new things, every day becomes a source of wonder. It's the best way to attack your day. It's the best way to make sure that your life stays fun and interesting. Life is not supposed to be a struggle. Life isn't supposed to be difficult. Hey, thank you so much. I can't see your name because of the streaming service, but we love you. We appreciate you too. Thank you for being here. So I want to close today with the question everyone's probably asking right now, if you're still with me. If you're watching this later, by the way, as a replay, thank you. We love you and we appreciate it. Please like, share, comment. We get nothing. This group is not a money-making proposition. You know, I have a business. I perform all over the world. This is a labor of love because this message needs to get out. My life was transformed. The lives of my clients have been transformed. I want you to transform as well, because when we do, we elevate consciousness around the world and we're able to get ourselves out of this mess that we've created. So today we're going to talk about 4 steps to release those limiting beliefs, because those are the things that we learned in childhood. So this goes back to Bobby's question about unlearning the things that we learned. I'm going to give you 4 things you can do to get rid of those limiting beliefs because they're ruining us. We learn those, like I said, in childhood. We're very little children. Then we move through our life creating experiences to match our beliefs. Look back in your own life and notice how often you've gone through the same experience. How often you've dated the same person. Maybe they're different people, but they're exactly the same. You attract exactly the same type of person. In a video a couple of weeks ago, I talked about limiting decisions, how you can form them, how they negatively impact our lives. So in that, we were talking about unearthing your own limiting decisions by asking yourself a few questions. What are the results you've produced in various areas of your life? Where are your results not in alignment with what you really want to be, do, or have? What area of your life have you really tried to improve, but no matter what, things didn't get better? Your limiting decisions are hiding out in the areas where you're producing results that you don't want. Your limiting decisions have shaped everything about you. They've shaped everything you do. They prevented you from seeing opportunities and maybe even discouraged you from trying at all. It's time to bring them out of hiding, out of the dark. Most of the time, I promise you, my friends, when you bring these beliefs into the light, they vanish. They can't stand the scrutiny. They can't be held up to the light. They can't be held up to truth. They vanish. Pull them, kicking and screaming if you have to, out of hiding. Because when you do, guess what? You have power because now you have choice. So how do you identify those pesky devils? Well, first, what do you say to yourself about that area? For example, if you're having trouble finding a relationship, maybe you explain it like women only want men who have a lot of money, or guys are only interested in younger women. Anything you say to yourself to justify why it isn't working for you is a limiting belief. Will that belief sound true to you? Of course, it will sound perfectly reasonable and valid, and you probably can come up with a lot of evidence to support it. But it's still a belief that is getting in the way of what you want. So unless you're willing to totally give up on your goals and your desires, it's a limiting decision that you do not want around you. Now, most of the time, limiting decisions are not conscious. Maybe you've learned to squelch your negative thoughts before they get revved up, and you've gotten good at positive self-talk. So you don't hear any limiting beliefs in your head. But you'll know you've still got a limiting decision lurking if your emotions are negative about that area. For example, if you're bogged down with financial pressures, how do you feel about it? Do you feel angry, anxious, hopeless. If you stay with that emotion and acknowledge it for a moment, you'll find the limiting belief right beneath it. For example, anxiety might be saying, "What will people think of me?" Anger might be saying, "Life isn't fair to people like me." Underneath hopelessness might be, "I'm just not strong enough or smart enough to figure this out." Now that you've dragged some of those self-limiting beliefs kicking and screaming out of the closet, what do you do with them? Well, there's several specific processes to unearth and eliminate limiting beliefs. Now, with our clients, we do a lot of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. And I can't teach that too much in the article, but I'm going to give you some steps to get you started. Talked about this earlier. It's worth saying again. Write down the limiting belief. Play detective. Follow your thoughts and emotions to discover the limiting belief that is holding you back. Put it on paper. Let it stare you in the face. You might note how strong each belief is and what emotions that they elicit in you. That's step one. Write it down. Step two, acknowledge that these are beliefs, not truths. This is often the hardest step. I can hear you now, but my limitations are real. Here's the place where choice comes in. Which are you more interested in? Defending your limitations to the death or achieving your goals and desires? When we argue for our limitations, we get to keep them. You choose. Next, step three, try on a different belief. This is so hard for so many people, especially for people that are stuck into a certain religion or a certain dogma. Use your imagination and try on a belief that is aligned with what you want. Now, it could be something as simple like, my financial difficulties in the past have taught me so much that I'm fully prepared to handle them now. Or, now that I've been in an unhealthy relationship, I've learned what to look for in a happy, loving partner. The trick is to go beyond just saying it. You want to really step into this new belief and feel how it feels. If you do this thoroughly, steps two, acknowledge these are just beliefs, not truths. Step three, try on a different belief. If you do this thoroughly, steps 2 and 3 will go a long way to dismantling your old limiting decisions, to get in there and break that rusty, out-of-date programming that is literally destroying your happiness. The last step, step 4, take different action. Now, this might feel scary, but act as if your new belief is true. In other words, if you really are the kind of man that women adore, how would you act at parties? Who would you ask out? If you really are capable and have learned a tremendous amount from past financial difficulties, what steps would you take? If you really are that kind of person who eats healthy food, what would you put in your grocery cart? If you avoid taking any steps based on your new belief, guess what? You're feeding the old one. That's all you're doing. Avoiding taking steps based on your new belief, you are feeding that old limiting belief. Taking action, even the smallest bit, will help solidify your new decisions, your new agreements. Your first steps don't have to be perfect. They just have to be steps. Like Martin Luther King said, you don't have to see the entire staircase, only the first step. Take that first step in faith. You don't have to be perfect. You have to be headed in the right direction. And be sure to acknowledge yourself when you've taken that step. That's what you do. Those are the 4 steps. Write the belief down. Whatever that limiting belief is, write it down. You have to play detective. Follow those thoughts back and you'll discover the limiting belief. Acknowledge to yourself that these are just beliefs. They are not truths. Try on a different belief, something that is different from what you are believing in. Finally, take different action. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a new life is impossible. If you're, by doing the same thing you're always doing, you're going to have the same life you've always had. It's time to take different action. Try different things. Hey, Ty. Okay, Sorry about that. See, now things align. Difficult journey trying to go through a lot of these things, but always keep in mind, if there's a will, there's a way, and I can't go wrong if I'm working on myself. Absolutely true. The most incredible project we have is ourselves. Being mindful of others at the same time. True as well. Open learning experience appealed to me. I just wanted to be the best I can be. It's awesome, Ty. You got exactly the right attitude. You're doing everything the right way. I love that. Keep it up. Keep it up. Now, if you guys have not joined our Facebook community, first of all, why the hell not? It is a family. It is a group of like-minded people. We are banded together. We are helping. We are empowering each other to change our lives. And like I said earlier, this is not a group that's bringing in money. We have created this out of love for you. We want you to be able to make the changes that you need to get the life that you want. That's how we change the world, person by person. As we change ourselves, we inspire other people. And they change around us. It's fantastic. And it's really the way that it's done. Self-empowerment is the best word we could come up with, because that is taking control of our lives, stopping the excuses, stopping the blame game, letting go of what no longer serves us. Setting goals, because I'll tell you, most people, they don't even have a goal. And if they do, it's some far off daydream goal. I want to be a billionaire. You don't have realistic goals. And they don't have to be realistic at the beginning. I mean, at the end, right? But you got to start somewhere. You know, you can have anything you want as long as you believe it. What you believe to be true is true for you. Learn to make positive choices instead of negative. Learn to live in a world where everything is amazing. Everything's a miracle. Being alive is the gift. So join us. It is the Students of Self-Empowerment fantastic community, facebook.com/groups/students of self-empowerment. Somebody asked yesterday about meditation. I was talking about my book. If you do not meditate, or if you do and you want to get back into it, or you want to know how I do it, grab a copy. It's called Unleash the Power of Mindfulness Meditation. It is available right now at brentwebb.com at the shop. So take a look. Everything you need to know. It's how to overcome anxiety with the amazing, remarkable, incredible power of your mind and mindfulness meditation. And last but not least, it may be time, my friends, for a mindset reset. Even the most successful people in the world have mentors and they have coaches. I know I do. I know the biggest spiritual teachers do. So everyone needs some help. Maybe it's time to align your goals and your objective with what really matters to you, and then move them powerfully forward on your game board of life. Take your vision and commitments and invest them with new possibilities and new power. This is a dynamic one-on-one coaching program. It's my mindset reset, my mindset mentoring program. I will work with you one-on-one. We do this virtually. That is the amazing thing about technology. We use Zoom or our streaming platform. We're able to do a one-on-one deep dive meeting where we see and talk to each other virtually. It's amazing. I will work with you one-on-one, like I have thousands of clients all over the world, but now able to do it virtually. I will help you clarify and powerfully align your goals and your objectives with what really matters to you. Not what matters to everyone else or the lives that they want you to live, but what matters to you. I want to hear what it is, where you're stuck, where your roadblocks are, what structures and practices and time frames are important. I will teach you what you need to support you in achieving those results. And I promise you, you will leave our sessions with new freedom, and you'll have taken steps towards what you're out to accomplish throughout your life, attaining your dream, living the life that you've always wanted. So I offer you the chance to create a short or long-term coaching relationship, and it will empower you in fulfilling your ongoing goals and your objectives. Now, I custom tailor each and every program with each and every client. You'll fill out a questionnaire. We will tackle what is important with you. These are delivered conveniently in our scheduled virtual sessions, which you get a copy of that you'll have forever. You get a video of each of our sessions. My coaching programs are available in all sorts of packages. If you're interested, take a look at my website, brentwebb.com. Everything you know is there. And if you are, somebody asked me the other day about, I don't know if I have this website. Somebody asked me the other day about my programs. If you're interested in a live program, I still do my stage shows. I do seminars. If you'd like me to speak maybe at your event, check out my website. It's brentwebb.info. That is the website for my performances. So if you're interested in that, go to brentwebb.info. And all the information you need is there. I certainly appreciate it. Now, I'll be back again tomorrow. I'm doing the 4th agreement from the 4 agreements, the most amazing book I have ever read. I'm telling you, it's right up there. Tomorrow, it's always do your best. And remember, your best is going to change from moment to moment. It's going to be different when you're healthy as opposed to when you're sick. It's going to be different from day to day, minute to minute, hour to hour. Under any circumstances, all you have to do is simply your best at the time. And what will happen? You'll avoid self-judgment. You'll avoid self-abuse, and you'll avoid regret. And that's so important. So that'll be tomorrow on the end of the book, actually, the 4 agreements. It's agreement number 4. If you have any other questions or comments, yeah, I listen to beats every night, almost every night. I love that. Everyone and everything is my mentor. Love it. So I want to thank you guys for joining me. Thanks, Ty, for being here. Thanks, Greg. Thanks, everyone else, for watching. If you're watching this replay, we love you. Just remember, share, invite your friends and family. Let's get this message out all over the world. It's so, so important. All right. So I will be back here tomorrow. Go out and enjoy yourself. It is the weekend. You deserved it. I'll see you back here. Remember, don't worry. Be happy. Feel good. See you tomorrow.